Hi friends, it's Renee with Harvest Hill Cottage. Welcome back. Today I've got a fun video for you. We're going to share the top 10 things we love to thrift for our vintage home decor. I love thrifting home decor because you can create a really warm, cozy space on a budget. Now, my number one item is baskets. I love old vintage baskets. They're great for storage. This is an old picnic basket I use to tuck away some of my Christmas serving pieces, and I just tuck it under this serving space in my dining area, and it looks really nice. This is an old basket I picked up, and I use it for storing our bread. And this is a really unique basket that I picked up recently. I love the rope handle, really different. So I'm going to use that with some other pieces to refresh my hearth and mantle space in my family room. And that's going to lead me to our next couple of items that I love to thrift. Number 2 is glass bottles and jars, especially colored glass. Really adds a great vintage vibe to your space. You can pop them on shelves, use them for storage. Same thing with my number 3 item, which is Crocs and old pots. So just adding this glass bottle to my hearth here. Loving that vintage vibe there. Here's an old Atlas jar with the lid I picked up. Love how it looks sitting on this shelf here. Love to add a touch of vintage vibe all around my house. Now, getting back to the Crocs, love them for storage. You can use them for greenery, plants, potted plants. You can store your utensils and so forth. Pots, I love old clay pots. I added just a little bit of white paint to this one to age it up. Add some florals. You've got a gorgeous display piece. I don't pay more than 50 cents to $1 for pots. This one I painted up and added a transfer. Now my number 4 is rolling pins, and I'm going to display them right here in this old crock that I found. I love rolling pins. They remind me of my grandmother and baking with her and my childhood. And this ties right into number 5. I love vintage kitchen items because what's better in the kitchen than some cool old vintage pieces? I love an old kitchen scale. I love that red one, but I don't have a lot of red in my house. So this is my kitchen scale that I absolutely adore and display right here on my kitchen counter. Pop that right on top of an old recipe book, an old cookbook of mine, and I've got a really sweet vignette there in my kitchen. Now, number 6 is vintage books. I love the way they smell. I love the way they look. They remind me of days gone by. I don't ever pay more than $1 or $2 for an old book. I love them for so many reasons, but my favorite reason is they really help when you're creating your vignettes to add height, to add some interest, to add some texture. You want to raise something up a little higher, pop a couple of old books on your shelf or mantle. Love the way my mantle is shaping up here with these vintage pieces. These old books are just the touch that it needed. Look how nice that looks. I love, love, love old books. They're all over my house. Here I have a lamp sitting just simply on a stack of books. Using it here as a riser for this little mini teapot. Now number 7, old clocks. This is just me. I adore old clocks. Again, they are old world to me. I don't even care if they work. I just love the way they look sitting around my house. In fact, every room in my house has some kind of old clock. And if you don't care whether they work or not, you can usually get a really good deal and have a great piece to display on a shelf. Now, my number 8 item is ironstone. Nothing screams old world vintage like ironstone dishes and serving pieces. So if I can find a good deal on a piece of ironstone, I will scoop it up quickly. In fact, my everyday dishes are also this gorgeous white ironstone. And I do use them, which is another piece of advice. Use your things. Don't just let them be sitting on a shelf. use them and enjoy them. This is one of my favorite ironstone pieces, this old ginger jar, and I just love having that little pop of color on the mantle with my other vintage pieces. Now, listen, I got to tell you, we are so passionate about thrifting and finding treasures that even when we're on vacation, my husband, John, and I are always popping into the local thrift and antique shops. Now, I've got to give a shout out to this awesome place that we found when we were on vacation recently in Cedar Point, North Carolina, called Amuse Me Antiques and Treasures. So if you're in the Swansboro, Cedar Point area of coastal North Carolina, go check them out. The owner is so sweet and accommodating, and we loved our time there. Now, I've got to move on to our next category, which is brass and copper. This copper pitcher came home with me, by the way, from our visit to Amuse Me Antiques. So unusual, and the price was right. So yes, brass and copper items to me just add so much warmth, and I love to add them all throughout my vintage cottage decor. So this shelf here needed a quick little makeover. So when I got home, I added my copper pitcher to this shelf, and love the addition there. And of course, I also had to add a clock because, every space needs a clock. I always keep my eyes open for vintage brass candlesticks and other accent pieces. Again, I think they add a lot of warmth, and it's an easy way to add vintage touches to your decor. Now, here's a little bonus. I've got a basket here and a brass basket. So, two fun vintage finds there. And then this little copper pitcher that I found thrifting one day. I could not resist it. I paid $10 for the thing, but I couldn't resist. It's copper. It's unique. I'm actually going to use it, I think, to hold sugar packets by my coffee pot, but just had to pop it here on this vignette for you. There's more brass there, some sconces that I just added to this wall display. And then you can see that brass fireplace screen, and then the brass lantern as well. That, by the way, is the Samsung Frame TV you see hanging over my mantle, and we did custom make our own gold frame to go around the television. If you're interested in knowing how we did that, I will link the video for that below. Now, my number 10 item I love to look for when I'm out and about: vintage art and frames. Even if I don't like the art, I love the frame. It's coming home with me. I love to look for unique frames, ovals, nice, unique moldings. If I don't like the color, no big deal. I'll paint it or change it. This is an old frame I found. I didn't like the art, so I popped out the art and added my own piece inside to fit my space. You can use vintage frames to frame your own artwork, to frame your family portraits, or you can even just use a frame alone as a display piece, as I use here on my hearth in my dining room, just as a backdrop for this old family vase. Okay, so now it's your turn. Tell me in the comments, what is your favorite item to thrift for your home? So now get on out there and go thrifting, find some awesome finds for your home, and bring a little bit of vintage into your decor. Thanks so much for watching us today. We appreciate your support. We're thankful for you. Please subscribe and give us a thumbs up so we can grow our channel. It helps us so much, and we are grateful. Thanks again for watching, and God bless.